um, the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit. Okay, so I'll read the first paragraph. The eternal Son is the perfect and final expression of the first personal and absolute concept of the universal Father. Oh. Accordingly, whenever and however the Father personally and absolutely expresses himself, he does so through his eternal Son, who ever has been, now is, and ever will be, the living and divine Word. And this eternal Son is residential at the center of all things, in association with and immediately enshrouding the personal presence of the eternal and universal Father. So, I'm just going to say some things that are interesting to me about the eternal Son and the infinite Spirit. What I think is, I don't know, appropriate or whatever comes to mind. So, I'm just going to kind of just, random, whatever comes to mind, in accord with the Urantia book, as it says what it says. So, on this planet, what's most important about all these things and these ideas? Jesus is not the second person of the Trinity. Jesus is a universal ruler. There's nothing wrong with Jesus allowing his followers in his day to see him as the eternal Son. Perfectly acceptable. But it's not accurate. The eternal Son, they say they'll go on and they'll describe the eternal Son in 2 papers and the infinite Spirit in 2 papers. And about the eternal Son, I would say what they say is the universal Father, God the Father, the first person of the Trinity. The eternal Son would be the second being in existence. And in terms of character, they are the same. So they also say that if you want to look at it from a time standpoint or a creation standpoint, the eternal Son was created at the same time as paradise, the home sphere of the gods. Like they say here, at the center of all things. That's where the gods abide. And the planet paradise, which is a topic in and of itself, although since paradise is simply a physical object, it's the only still object or planet in all of existence. However, it's still just an object. So, topic wise, it's not that interesting. If I was going to talk on paradise, I'd probably include paradise and other physical realities and super universes and things of this nature and just kind of combine it all up, because there's not much to say, in a sense, about non-personal or impersonal things. Personal things are what's interesting to persons like me, like you. So anyway, as the book says it, the infinite Spirit, the third person of the Trinity, was created by the Father and the Son at the same time as Havona, that perfect universe at the center of all things. So they say, I might read it, but they say the infinite Spirit, taking note of his reality, immediately pledges fidelity and loyalty, whatever, to the Father and the Son. And I don't know, and creation begins from there. There's lines in the book. There's lines in the book like um, um, the only inevitability that, like, for example, an author in this book would say, the only inevitability that I see is the Paradise Trinity, blah, blah, blah. So it's like that's the eternal thing, and nothing else really is. Okay. Um, okay, so nature of the eternal Son. The eternal Son is just as changeless and infinitely dependable as the universal Father. Ugh. He is also just as spiritual as the Father, just as truly an unlimited spirit. To you of lowly origin, the Son would appear to be more personal, since he is one step nearer you in approachability than is the universal Father. So they will not hesitate on occasion to call humans the lowly beings, the lowest order of will creatures, things of this nature, because that's what humans are. Humans are the lowest order of will creatures, as far as orders of beings are concerned. Um, so, I mean, all these paragraphs are great. They sound a little bit like the Bible. They definitely tie into Jesus of Nazareth. And so the next paragraph, the eternal Son is the eternal Word of God. He is wholly like the Father. In fact, the eternal Son is God the Father, personally manifest to the universe of universes. And thus it was and is forever, will be true of the eternal Son and all of the coordinate creator sons, Jesus of Nazareth, Michael of Lebanon being a creator son. He who has seen the Son has seen the Father. So that statement Jesus of Nazareth did make. They point out in here that Jesus of Nazareth did not say, he who has heard me has heard the Father, because that would be inaccurate. So, um, let's see. I don't know. Here we go. Why not? Limitations of the eternal Son. So the second person of the Trinity has limitations. The eternal Son does not personally function in the physical domains, nor does he function except through the conjoint actor and the levels of mind ministry to creature beings. But these qualifications do not in any manner otherwise limit the eternal Son in the full and free exercise of all the divine attributes of spiritual omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. So, I don't know. The short of it is, from my understanding of the Urantia book, is that God the Father is everything, everywhere, everything. He encompasses all, like all, like all. This power is more or less in the conjoint actor, the third person of the Trinity, the infinite spirit, conjoint actor being another term for the infinite spirit. And except that the conjoint actor, infinite spirit, is subject to the universal Father. But the eternal Son only brings to him that which is perfect. So I don't know what the paragraph said, about the Father and the Spirit get involved in everything. The Son does not, in terms of creation outside of the paradise of Ona system. All right. The second paper on the eternal Son. The original Son is ever concerned with the execution of the spiritual aspects of the Father's eternal purpose as it progressively unfolds in the phenomena of the evolving universes with their manifold groups of living beings. We do not fully comprehend this eternal plan, but the Paradise Son undoubtedly does. They'll do a lot of that in the urantia book. The authors here will say, we don't know. We do not fully comprehend. They'll do that here and there. The Father's plan for all of creation, as concerns mortals. I've said before, but I'll say again, mortals leave this world, die, leave this world, move on through different worlds, eventually reach the Paradise of Ona system, eventually personally meet the first person of the Trinity, Universal Father. At that point, they are called finaliters in this book, and finaliters in this book are destined to go to the next outer space level. We're in the first outer space level outside of Paradise of Ona. The next outer space level is where we, as high spirit beings, will go to create and rule in the next outer space level, probably mortals similar to ourselves in that outer space level. I believe, I'm not up on everything, I've studied a lot, but I believe the Mormons have something about this idea of becoming a high spirit and becoming a ruler in some fashion, whether you call them the Mormons or the Latter-day Saints, whatever the term is. I do believe they have that in their ideas. So I know a little bit about a lot. I know a lot about some things, maybe like the Rancher book or other things, but in any event, just good stuff, man. It's all interesting. It's all worthwhile. It's all enjoyable. I could read any paragraph in here and make a comment or two. The plan of progressive attainment. This is the Universal Father's plan of evolutionary ascension, a program unreservedly accepted by the Eternal Son when he concurred in the Father's proposal, let us make mortal creatures in our own image. This provision for upstepping the creatures of time involves the Father's bestowal of the thought adjusters and the endowing of material creatures with the prerogatives of personality. So they say that, all right, first off, a lot of this stuff gets repeated because it's throughout the book, and this is what's important to us mortals. So thought adjusters, every human on this earth currently, every normal-minded human on this earth has a thought adjuster, a spirit, an individual spirit just for you. They even say it's imprisoned in your mind. They use those types of terms. But there's a lot of the thought adjusters is a whole nother topic. There's like 6, 7 papers, whatever the number is, on the thought adjuster. But it's the spirit of God in the mind of each normal-minded human, literally. So, this is similar to the ideas in Catholicism about, or whatever Christian religion or any religion, the ideas of the soul, things of this nature, fairly limited in fundamental religions. This book gives a great long explanation of what that spirit of God in man is, in each person is. So it's just good information, great information. They say Humans are very personal beings. Thought adjusters have not achieved personhood. They're not persons. They are strictly the will of God in the mind of an individual human. Like not even personal in the sense of free will or the thought adjuster making its own decisions about how it would like to act. It's strictly God the Father acting until you fuse, until you become one with your thought adjuster. Then that thought adjuster becomes independent. I'm not. I mean, there's plenty more to that. I can't. There's nothing else I really can or want to say about that idea. um, because the thought adjuster, when it fuses with human, is an exact duplicate of that person. So I don't want to say anything else about it because I'm not positive. But there's information about that in the thought adjuster papers, and I'm sure to say something about that sooner or later. All right. I'll just go with the last paragraph here. More of the character and merciful nature of the eternal Son of Mercy you should comprehend as you meditate on the revelation of these divine attributes, which was made in loving service by your Creator Son, one time Son of man on earth, now the exalted sovereign of your local universe, the Son of Man and the Son of God. I tried to say the word attributes and couldn't do it well. I was sucker punched, injured. Someone completely out of the blue sucker punched me. Didn't know this person, never saw him before. Broke my mandible, my bottom jaw here, maybe both sides. I've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 plates, four bolts on top, 4 bolts down here. So talking is not as good as it was. Again, they finish up this paper bringing in Jesus of Nazareth in this book known as Michael of Nebanon, a universal creator. Many of these papers, they will end on the idea of Jesus of Nazareth because that is so important. The life of Jesus of Nazareth is so important that now and then a lot of these papers, after they try to explain a lot of technical stuff, for example, in this paper, after they try to explain a lot of technical stuff about the eternal Son, the second person of the Trinity, they'll wrap it up by saying, also note and study the life of Jesus. So, I don't know. I've talked before about how he is now the sovereign. I'm not going to get into that. The infinite spirit, the third person of the Trinity, back in eternity, when the universal Father's first infinite and absolute thought, like for example, I'll say the word absolute, and I bit my tongue as I was saying it because of this problem in here. Thought finds in the eternal Son such a perfect and adequate word for its divine expression. There ensues the supreme desire of both the thought God and the word God for a universal and infinite agent of mutual expression and combined action. So the thought God being the first person of the Trinity, the word God being the second person of the Trinity. So there's a reason for the third person of the Trinity. They want a being for themselves for their mutual expression and combined action. I'll say here that there's a line in the book, something about things in the central universe are different in a sense or because, let me put it this way, because the Paradise Savona system is run by a triune God, things are different in some sense versus the local universes outside of Avona Paradise are created by two beings. Each one is created by two beings. And there's differences in a triune universe versus a dual universe. There's a line about that somewhere. All right. The Infinite Spirit, also known as the God of Action. They'll give different names for beings. They'll use 3, 4, 5 names for some beings sometimes. Well, specifically the gods, maybe the Creator, Son, and the Divine Minister. They'll use different names. Just, for the heck of it, I guess. The God of Action. In the eternity of the past, upon the personalization of the Infinite Spirit, the divine personality cycle becomes perfect and complete. The God of Action is existent, and the vast stage of space is set for the stupendous drama of creation, the universal adventure, the divine panorama of the eternal ages. So, life and creation are a good thing. I guess this is appropriate. The next paragraph. The first act of the Infinite Spirit is the inspection and recognition of his divine parents, the Father, and the Mother, Son. He, the Spirit, unqualifiedly identifies both of them. He is fully cognizant of their separate personalities and infinite attributes, as well as of their combined nature and united function. Next, voluntarily, with transcendent willingness and inspiring spontaneity, the third person of deity, notwithstanding his equality with the first and second persons, pledges eternal loyalty to God the Father and acknowledges everlasting dependence upon God the Son. They say something similar about finaliters. After achieving paradise and the universal Father, a loyalty pledge is given to the Trinity. Something like that too, for a Creator, Son, and Divine Minister before they go create their local universe. For one, there's a marriage ceremony between the two, and for another, I believe they also pledge something about fidelity, loyalty to God the Father before heading out for their mission. I think. I mean, it's all worthwhile and good information. Anything in here. I'm just going to read, some paragraphs here and there, try and say something about them. So, again, with this relation of the Spirit to the Father and the Son, as the eternal Son is the word expression of the first absolute and infinite thought of the universal Father, so the conjoint actor is the perfect execution of the first completed creative concept or plan for combined action by the Father-Son personality partnership of absolute thought-word union. The third source and center eternalizes concurrently with the central or fiat creation, and only this central creation is eternal in existence among universes. Fiat, the word fiat, they use it now and then for God the Father. They'll sort of refer to that. Well, here they're referring to it as the only things that are eternal are Paradise Savona, the Trinity. So, in that sense, Paradise Savona is a fiat creation, like by the mandate of God personally. So I don't know. They say God, the conjuring actor executes what's going on in terms of what the Father and the Son want to do. I know He's the God of mind, so all mind is goes back to is centered in the infinite spirit, all mind, animal mind, human mind, all spirit being mind, all mind whatsoever throughout all of creation is centered in the infinite spirit. They have paragraphs in here that describe that better than saying that, but to me, that's the idea. Um, the infinite spirit is they say here, the spirit of divine ministry. So the infinite spirit, um, I'll say this: um, the the universal Father and the eternal Son create a creator Son. The infinite spirit, all by himself, creates the divine minister who will be paired with that creator Son. And that divine minister creates all seraphim, the next level up from humans in terms of levels of sonship, things of that nature. So the divine minister is seen as the female member of the Trinity. Personality of the infinite spirit, they purposely put in here for all three gods. There's a line, I'm not going to try and look them up, but there's a line, I might be paraphrasing a little, but it ends with is a person. So the infinite Father is a person, the eternal Son is a person, the infinite Spirit is a person. I'm going to look that up real quick, see if I just see it right here. Um, so there's it for the Son. Yes. All right. So I don't know. To me, it's a very important topic, knowing that the gods are a person. So in the very first paper about God the Father, they should rejoice in the assurance that he is a person. There's more to that paragraph, more to that sentence. In the paper, the first paper about the eternal Son, although it is beyond the powers of the mortal and material mind to grasp the actuality of the personality of such an infinite being, doubt not, he is a person. And then in the first paper about the infinite spirit, in all these widespread activities of the far-flung spiritual administration of the eternal Son, do not forget that the Son is a person just as truly and actually as the Father is a person. Oh, that's the second paper on the Son. So, but it's here. First paper on the infinite spirit. It's a long sentence. I'm not going to read it all. even though we recognize the omnipresence of the Spirit, nonetheless, we still affirm that this same third source and center is a person. Okay, so it's there. Relation of the infinite Spirit to the universe. The paper starts with this paragraph. A strange thing occurred when, in the presence of paradise, the universal Father and the eternal Son unite to personalize themselves. Nothing in this eternity situation foreshadows that the conjoined actor would personalize as an unlimited spirituality coordinated with absolute mind and endowed with unique prerogatives of energy manipulation. His coming into being completes the Father's liberation from the bonds of centralized perfection and from the fetters of personality absolutism. And this liberation is disclosed in the amazing power of the conjoint creator to create beings well adapted to serve as ministering spirits, even to the material creatures of the subsequently evolving universes. So the Father is stuck in the fetters of personality absolutism until he gets out of that. And his means of getting out of that is the creation of the other two persons of deity. This all ties into, the whole idea of eternity. There's a lot of information about that in the foreword, throughout the book. They'll say, even to the material creatures. So on this isolated planet, Urantia is isolated because of the rebellion of Lucifer. In this book, the other character, the former planetary prince of this world, Calgastia, defaulted, or no, not defaulted, his betrayal, part of the rebellion of Lucifer. So this world got isolated because of that. And so we don't know much about all the spirit beings in existence. This book will talk about tremendous, phenomenal, unbelievable amounts of different types of spirit beings, high to low in terms of authority. So conventional understanding on this planet at this time does not have hardly any of that information. But it's still true that there are unbelievable numbers of spirit beings of all different kinds throughout all of creation. The mind-gravity circuit. The third source and center, the universal intelligence, is personally conscious of every mind, every intellect, in all creation, and he maintains a personal and perfect contact with all these physical, morontial, and spiritual creatures of mind endowment in the far-flung universes. All these activities of mind are grasped in the absolute mind gravity circuit, which focalizes in the third source and center and is a part of the personal consciousness of the infinite spirit. Okay, so that's the explanation. That's the paragraph about what I was trying to say earlier about that. But morontial is the state we are in after physical death, before actual spirit form. There's an in-between phase. Again, I'll go with the last paragraph. Yeah. The spirit personalities of the vast family of the divine and infinite spirit are forever dedicated to the service of the ministry of the love of God and the mercy of the Son to all the intelligent creatures of the evolutionary worlds of time and space. These spirit beings constitute the living ladder whereby mortal man climbs from chaos to glory. Like any good book, they like to end it with something a little um, I don't know, uplifting, but simple in its terminology. So the last sentence, you know, is a simpler statement. Flowery, I would call it. There's better terms than that. But you know, is the living ladder a metaphor type idea? So metaphors to just kind of whatever. Anyway, um, chaos, the world, an evolutionary world, before an evolutionary world is settled in light and life, be a world of chaos and eventual glory when long ages pass before any mortal actually meets the first person of the Trinity, God the Father. It's a long, long, long process, but it does occur. And that would be any being's glory, where they achieve and have, as a spirit being, the peace of God, things of this nature.